Okay, so we're live. And you'll notice we have a new stream setup. Um, ha. So what's been going on this week? Eee, That's a good question. I should figure that out. Okay, so let's just do a recap. Last week, YouTube pulled a fast one on me, and we had to change real quickly. Ended up not streaming because I couldn't figure out what was going on. I, um, in the end, just in case anybody else is having this problem, just in case any of you guys are streamers too, I had to log out of Streamlabs, reconnect the account to YouTube, and then set up the stream again. And now YouTube has this thing where it changes the stream key every time. So I guess I set that up every stream now too. Hi, Pac. Hi. I can see you guys so much better right now. We may be having a special guest today. I'm warning you, she's crazy, but then again, she's related to me, so that's not saying much. Okay, so let's see. Oh, thank you. I saw the like. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's see. They're still stealing the wires around here. Um, I don't even know what to say on that end. They're still stealing the wires. Um, but I still don't know. I'm just baffled by the idea that they're still at it. But other than that, let's see. Let me transfer to the live stream so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now, today is today's issue is something that I have actually had a lot of problems with, especially learning perspective. And I've actually done this video before, back when we were on Twitch. Let me hide the grid so you guys can see. I've done this video before where I sort of sat down and explained one point perspective and all the different things they don't really tell you about perspective in art school, unless you're in a really, really good art school. Yeah, unless you're in a really, really good art school, they ain't telling you these things. You're kind of on your own. So I decided that I'm going to redo this video, shorten it by a whole lot, and kind of talk about one point perspective and all the different things that it's kind of obvious, but you wouldn't really know. And we're gonna set up a full perspective grid. So I already have the beginning of the grid right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this layer. And I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to go to view, you're going to scroll down to show, and you're going to bring up the grid. Now I have, instead of black and white, I've replaced white with red, and those are going to be the two colors of my grid. And that's where we're going to start with now. So the first thing you want to know about perspective is that all the lines are going back towards the vanishing point, and these lines are called orthogonals. And orthogonals converge at, like I said, they're also called receding lines, but they all converge towards a vanishing point. And there is perspective from 1 point perspective to 5 point perspective to 6, 7, 8, depending on what you need. I think we're kind of stuck in this time period where people, we haven't really learned perspective, so to speak. And so um, we are kind of locked into, oh, it has to be 1 point perspective, it has to be 2 point perspective. And then you see amazing artwork on the internet and you're like, which perspective is that? Okay, maybe that's not how you go. You more than likely you went, how the hell did they draw that? I know because I do that. If I'm the only one doing that, then let me know and I'll stop doing it out loud. I'll just keep it to myself. Probably not because I don't have that kind of impulse control. But let me start before my mouth runs away with me. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm just explaining the different parts. This is for absolute beginners. So first thing we're gonna do is draw our horizon line, and I'm switching. So we're drawing our horizon line. And this is the line that is at eye level. So this right here, I know we call it the horizon line, but you can also call it your eye level, the line that indicates your eye level. And what you really want to look at on this line for a full perspective grid is the middle. So the middle, and that's the whole reason I have the grid, because I'm really bad at estimating it. I usually put it somewhere over here. So in the middle, we're going to put our vanishing point. This white section right here is my main drawing. I am simulating traditional drawing. Taxes, anytime I see someone draw, I think that. Oh, wow. I don't know what to say back. I really don't know what to say. So on the horizon line, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. On your horizon line that's indicating your eye level, you're going to put 3 different points. You're going to put your central vanishing point, which is going to be responsible for your 1 point perspective. And then you're going to put your diagonal vanishing points, which will be responsible for everything else. So side, blah, 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 XYZ. And I put them over here. I did say I was mimicking traditional drawing, meaning that this white section, if I turn that off and turn the grid off, oh, control plus what now? Yeah. So if I turn the grid off, you'll see the white paper and the dark background. What I did was, this would be what I would draw on. This would be a bigger piece of paper, and then this white piece of paper would be my original sheet. So when you're doing this in traditional drawing, you will need 2 pieces of paper, or you would need a surface on which would allow you to draw outside of your original piece of paper. And that's because it's always good to have your vanishing points off your paper. Reason being is that the closer you get to those vanishing points, the more distorted perspective becomes. It takes on a more kind of more wacky proportions. And so when you have it off your vanishing points, it keeps that distortion from showing up in your actual piece. Moving right along. So let's see what else we can do here. Turn the grid back on. That's control plus apostrophe. Ooh. Okay, so control plus is zoom in, and control plus apostrophe is to turn the grid on. So now that I've done that, the next thing I use this grid for is to keep my line equal. The first step that you want to do in this, and I'm using a tile de fleur. This method I got from Vanishing Point Perspective for Comics from the Ground Up. Is written by Jason Cheesemeyer, and I really like this book. Mostly because it's very simple to understand and it goes into details. There's lots of exercises, which makes it really easy for people who learn by doing rather than reading. And so I'm just gonna draw that. And I'm using a drawing tablet, but now I'm switching to a mouse because a drawing tablet is pressure sensitive and I don't want these lines to waver. So your first step is to draw your vanishing point in the center and your two diagonal vanishing points as far away from each other as you can get them. However, they should be equidistant or equidistant from this vanishing point in the center. So you can play with this, but make sure that these two vanishing points are equal distances from this, or else you're going to get some weird distortions. I wish I could show you them, but I don't want to show you that hot mess I did earlier. So the first thing I'm doing, and I'm holding down Shift and clicking, that's too thick a line. So I'm going to turn this down to 3. The first thing you're going to do is take a line. Okay. Take a line from the edge of your middle line, hold down Shift, and you're going back to the central vanishing point. And if you hold Shift and don't let it go and just move, you can do that triangular formation, and it will go in straight lines. There's easier ways to do this, but I like this method because it allows you to control how you're constructing the grid, what you're doing, if you need to make any arrangements. Whereas if you just get a template online, you run into issues of if it's not the right side, your grid might be blurry. If it's not the right aspect ratio, you might be drawing on a grid that doesn't match the paper you're using or the size you're using. And those can create all sorts of problems. So after that step, the next step you're going to do, and I'm switching to red so you can keep track of it, is you're going to go back from the opposite corners and bring them to the opposing vanishing points. So like that. And what I'm doing right now is what I do is click, and then I hold down Shift, click again, and go back to that vanishing point. The reason for the extra click is that I just did it right there. If you don't do that extra click, Photoshop will use the last point at which you clicked your paintbrush to connect a line. And you kind of don't want that. All right, so next thing you want to do, we have that, is we're gonna switch to that, and we're gonna now draw a horizontal line which intersects these 2 points. So where the red orthogonals or receding lines cross the black receding lines, you're going to draw a horizontal line straight across. Maybe I should put this in a different color. So how am I gonna switch between these 3 colors? Sorry guys, I don't feel like trying to find that color over and over again. And I'm using a mouse for this because the mouse will give me an equal line width. And I'm going to draw out the front line as well. See, I made that mistake. Click. And that's your first set of lines. This is really good for if you're doing tiled floors, if you're doing streets, for example, if you're doing street views or you're constructing a whole scene, it's really good to kind of measure out your paper like this if you have the time. Once you get good enough, I'm not there yet, but once you get good enough, I've seen artists who are really good at just kind of cheating it. But if you're not at that level yet, I suggest that you kind of like do this. Maybe keep a few pieces of paper like this. Do it with really light pencil if you're doing it traditionally. Maybe H pencil that's really, really easy to erase. Or you can do it on a separate sheet of paper, and if you have a light box, you can put this, you can put the template under your paper, and then you won't have to worry about erasing all the time. For digitally, if you make this on Photoshop, I would suggest that you make it on a different layer so that you can turn it off and change the perspective grid if you really, really like it. And I'm talking about the digital and traditional because I want you to understand that they work. It is possible to transfer knowledge from traditional background to digital background. It's not useless. All right, so switching back to red, Your next step is to go from the, how do I put it, the corners. So before you went from this corner, your next step is to go from this corner and this corner to the diagonal. So we're gonna do that. And I'm following the example directly from the book. Reason being, so at this point right here, I told you that we, how do I put this? I told you that we draw diagonals or orthogonals at this point. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw another, switch to black, you're gonna draw another orthogonal right here. And then we're going to create more receding lines to the central vanishing point. Now, just like how you draw the horizontal lines where the red line and the black line intersect, the same thing goes here. You will now draw this receding line wherever these lines intersect. Wherever these lines intersect a horizontal black line. So here, the next closest one is here. And here. So what we're gonna do, and I don't really have a ruler for this, so we're just gonna eyeball it. And that's also the reason why I made sure to start outside and keep the grid on, is because now I can sort of eyeball this and keep it straight. I'm sure there's a way to extend. Usually I would do this in Illustrator where you have the line extension tool, but I think I just don't know enough about Photoshop because maybe it has that same sort of tool and I just don't know about it. So we're just gonna we're gonna repeat those steps over and over. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. And we're going to repeat on the other side. So switch to red. Or let me do one side first and then I'll do the other side in blue so that you guys can get more practice with it. So we've done this tile floor. And now we have this. So So now this is the line that we started out at the front. So this is our new horizontal line. And from our new horizontal line, from here to here, we already have the receding lines going to there. We have the receding lines going to there. And so the next thing we're going to do, done, is draw a receding line from this point to the diagonal. So if you have any questions, let me know. All right, so what we're doing is we're now treating this horizontal line as if it's this one. So from that length, again, we draw lines from the horizontal, so there and there. This line already existed from the point where we drew that. And then from here to here. And then we switch to black and we're going to draw a horizontal line where the red line intersects. So where these two red lines intersect, the black receding lines going back is where you draw your new horizontal. And then, following the next step, so we were here, there. This is our new, sorry. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. Let me zoom in. I feel like you guys can't see it properly. Yeah. Actually, let me just hit Give me a second, guys. My computer is misbehaving. There we go. All right, so we've drawn the red receding line to the opposing diagonal vanishing point. This is our next receding line. So we drew the two receding lines, that's step one. We drew our horizontal line across using the point where the black receding line and the red receding lines intersect each other. We draw our next diagonal across, that's step two. Our third one is to make sure that we extend our line all the way across. And then we're going to, with little black dots, we're gonna mark where this line, so I'm gonna mark where this line intersects. So we're marking where this line intersects with the red diagonals. And from here, we're going to use this. We're going to use this line, or these two spots, to draw our next, blah, 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 to draw our next receding line to the vanishing point. Okay, so I'm gonna hold down Shift. Whoops, let's go down to 3. All right, you can also do this with the line tool. If you do it with the line tool, if you do it with the line tool, you can extend. That's what I just remembered. So what I'm doing is drawing back that diagonal line here so that I can mark this spot and extend that line. So push. From here, I can sort of, I don't like that. So I'll probably do the rest with the line tool or with the pen tool. Pen or line. I think the line tool will work better. So let me go get the line tool. Okay, line tool shortcut is U. And let me just go there. I was looking up the keyboard shortcut, guys. If you use the line tool, you can do wait. Let me go all the way from here. I'll use the line tool from now on because it's annoying me not to be able to extend the line as I want it. It's gonna create a lot of layers, but all I'll do is just merge them down. So that's Control E. And I get finer lines. So from now on, I'm going to use the line tool and I will switch the color. I'll use the brush tool to make the red lines and the line tool to make the black receding lines. So we're done with that. All right, so back to the brush tool. I am going to draw a diagonal line here. And the whole purpose of doing this is so that we have a good way to measure across. Because the whole point of this grid is that wherever these lines intersect, there should be a receding line going back to the central vanishing point. And wherever these lines intersect right here, there should be a horizontal line going back to the, going across or parallel to the horizontal line. There we go. See, I'm not speaking foolishness just yet. All right, so let's just do that quickly. Fortunately, this is live, so I can't speed it up. So click U. And if you're new to this, it really does help to mark these points. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I've done this before, so. And I can just draw them out. I'm using this line. And I think I'm going to, because I had 2 points for this and 3 points for this one. I only have 1 point of reference for this diagonal, so I'm going to wait a bit to draw that one. And then I'm going to use this line as my new horizontal line. Switch to the brush tool, change to red, make sure that my size is 3 or below. And I'm going to draw, hold down Shift, draw myself a brand new diagonal line. So we're there. From here, we're gonna draw there. And remember, you can also do that. I am changing the sides, switching to there, and we're gonna draw our horizontal line all the way across. And this is how you keep your floors from looking like they're sloping uphill. A lot of times, the most common mistake I made when I was struggling with perspective and flat floors is that my floor always sort of looked like it was slanting, like it was slanting left or right or up or down, because I couldn't really understand what I was drawing, whether it was wooden floors, tile floors, cobblestone floors. It made it really, really hard for me to understand what it was that I was drawing. So we do like so, draw all the way across, go here, and this is where my next line is. And the closer you get to this horizon line, is the closer these are going to get. So it will go all the way back. I'm gonna go here. And there. And then, so I drew that line, this line here. And then what we're going to do is, now I have created 1, 2, 3, 4 points of reference for this line. Hit U, click, and drag with your mouse all the way across. And I made sure it hit here, here, and it's actually a little bit off, so I'm going to Control Z, click. So that's as close as I can get it for right now. Control E. So you can see as we go back, it's a little bit off. Here, here, and here. So try to get them as close as possible. In a perfect world, they'd all line up exactly. But this is not a perfect world. I've got 1, 2, 3 points of referral right here, so I'm going to draw another one. Control U, sorry, Control E. And let's go again. Brush. Ooh. So guys, I made a mistake. There we go. I drew the line there. I just hit Control Z. I was supposed to draw the line from here, so I skipped. That's why that one was so far off. And okay. All right, so we went all the way back there. Josie. Like that. And now this is my new horizontal line. So we're gonna click there. Brush. Hold shift, click here. Hold shift, click here. Switch colors. And we go all the way across. And then after we go all the way across, using that line, so we're using this line over here. We're gonna go there, hit U. And align it to the points where it intersects. They're a lot closer now. Switch back to B and repeat again. So get your new horizon line, switch your color, brush, shift, and that's your new one. So where this meets and where that meets. Switch your color again. That's your new horizon line. And switch to the line tool from the vertical vanishing point. Use the dots along. So use here. And I'm skipping over there now. I'll draw them back, but I'm gonna skip just to speed this up just a little bit. And if you're coming in and this is not the beginning of the tutorial for you, I'm basically just going over the steps again. How you start it is simply where, let me zoom in, where you see this extra dark or extra thick line right here. It's thick with 2 C's. You drew that, and similar to this horizon line right here, you draw a line back to the diagonal vanishing point. You draw one back to that vanishing point as well. Let me just do it. Shift click is so convenient. And then you draw a horizontal line marking those 2 positions. Then using the line tool in Photoshop from the central vanishing point, the main vanishing point, you will, using these red lines where they intersect the black line as a guide, you extend the line you extend the line from there. And if I turn the grid off, so that's Control plus, you can see this is what it looks like. So the grid is slowly building itself. And let me just merge, Control, and back to work. I'm contemplating doing all of this before the stream, and it's just occurred to me that maybe I should have just shown you guys how to start it and then bring up the completed one, because this is taking much more time than I thought it would. But hindsight is 2020. Hey, long time see. He said it's extra thick. Yep, it's an extra thick line. Okay. So we're doing that. After I draw this perspective grid, I'm going to go straight to designing Pari's house. I'm also going to show you guys the new designs for Enya and Pari, just in case you guys missed it. So I haven't made them digitally yet, so that's kind of a issue, and I don't think I'd be able to get them done in time. Yeah, done in time on the stream tonight. Jose B. We do that, then. So I'm gonna click here, hold shift. Switch the color. This takes a while. And after that, here. Ooh, which one? There it is. So using that line tool right there. And so I'm going to stop once I have reached close enough to here. And I'm going to tell you again the purpose of laying out the grid like this. It makes it easy to measure the space in your grid. Sometimes you're drawing and people tell you that things don't look proportional, and you've really just been eyeballing it this whole time. So you're like, how do I fix that? Or I don't know what you mean. It usually means that you accidentally drew an object that's like 50 feet long in a space that's only like 2 feet. Or your car is like more ginormous and you can't figure out why why or how to like get a concrete or consistent way of drawing the same things over and over. That's the reason why. You don't have a perspective grid, you don't have anything to give you a reference. And so the whole time it's just like, ooh, I don't know what I'm doing, and it shows. I'm gonna grab this, bring it all the way through, and that will make that easier on me. Switch. Anyway, guys, while I'm doing this, what have you guys been up to this week? I hope your week has been better than mine. What are you planning for Christmas? I'm planning to eat a lot of food until I go into a coma. Like that's my main. That's my main plan for this Christmas. My main plan is I'm going into a coma this Christmas and no one can stop me. I'm going into a little food coma. And then I'm going to exercise till it drops off all the fat. Because I don't want to be. I kind of want to be able to move come next New Year. And this heat. Okay, let me stop. You guys don't need to hear about my suffering. Alright. Excuse me. Alright. If someone criticizes my beautiful perspective drawing, I'm going to throw sand in there. I'm done. Why sand specifically? Is there a lot of it where you are? It's a whole lot. Suppose they're trying to help Pack. Suppose they say, oh, you can fix this. And they tell you how. Are you still gonna throw sand in their faces? Suppose they're a nice person. Alright, so guys, I don't really need much more than this. I think I can probably hit get my line tool and just continue with this now. Because honestly, I went outside and I was taking pictures of everything. And I think all the people in my community are just like, this weird girl again. She's back. So let's get that. And the beautiful thing about doing it this way is, switch that. Now I can just click here and easily do the other side. I'm actually gonna change this red to blue so you guys can see more clearly what I'm doing. That out of the way. So what I did before was I just repeated the same step over and over and over to the point where the grid would let me. And now I'm repeating the other step over and over because the other lines that I would use to tell me the other lines that I would use to tell me where to draw these lines are already in existence, and so I don't need to worry too much. Now that I have that line out, I'm going to switch to the line tool and yep, So we do that. We're just gonna click and drag consistently. Actually, Control Z, switch back to that tool. I'm gonna keep that layer tool up. I don't even know if you guys can see my layer tool, so let's see. Pocket sand. Always keep sand in your pocket. Pack says you can't fix it if it ain't broke. Okay. Pack says it's not broke, so you can't fix it. Okay. If you say so. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut next time. You see? I went to the eye doctor and he told me my eyes have gotten worse. I wish he'd have kept that information to himself, but I know he means well. I know he means well. I just kind of didn't want to know that. So now I'm in the market for new glasses. How lucky for me. I'm so lucky. Can't you tell how ecstatic I am? Yeah, now I'm just eyeballing things, guys. So like, no, this crisscross thing right here isn't actually necessary. You really only need it for the middle tiles. Every other tile is just gonna have one diagonal receding line running through it. And then this center line down the middle right there. I'm missing one. Yeah, that center line down the middle is where your perspective changes. So when you have the grid laid out like this, and I'm actually gonna draw the receding line that I'm talking about so that you are not imagining it. This blue line right down the center is where your perspective changes. Anything on this line right here is straight forward 1 point perspective. Anything on this line over here, they default to these two vanishing points, so that becomes 2 point perspective. And I'll show you, I don't think I'm going to do 3 point perspective. I think that's going to be a jump. My eyes got worse too. Seriously? Wow. Sometimes I think glasses are making my eyes worse, but if I don't wear them, it's besides the point. So it's kind of a moot point. I wear them anyway. Let me not, because innocent kiddies might be listening to me and try to convince themselves they don't need to. That's not what I'm trying to promote. Listen to your medical professionals. Alright, so I'm gonna add a adjustment layer right here. It's going to be a hue and saturation layer. And the darkness is going to be 100%. Then I'm just gonna put a clipping mask over it. That brings everything down to black. And then I bring the opacity down to 22. 22 is, it's not a specific number, it's just, this is the opacity at which I can work, still see all those details, and focus on the details that I'm going to put on top of it. Now, when I say a full perspective grid, let me explain to you what I am about to do with this. Because now that you have these divisions, you can now properly, how do I put this? Yeah, you can now properly um, place objects in your scene. And I'm going to um, try to redraw one of my references. I got this one. It's a gingerbread house, and that has a different meaning than it does in America. So let me get the picture. Let me get the picture on the desktop. So, gingerbread house in Jamaica, we have houses that we have constructed that look like actual gingerbread houses. And there are from the colonial days, they have a lot of Victorian and Georgian architecture attached to them, and they're really quite beautiful. And I'm going to show you a picture that I got from InsideJourneys.com, and it's a gingerbread house near Seaford Town. Give me a second. It's a gingerbread house near Seaford Town, and it was taken by. Hold on. Do 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 do. I'm gonna assume it was taken by Marcia Main because there's no photographer mentioned here. So she was essentially driving through the western side of the island, which would be Westmoreland, Trelawney. These are parishes. If you're in the United States, that would be the equivalent of states, except that they're not self-governed to the point that American states are. But she was taking pictures of the gingerbread houses, and I really love them. My grandmother used to have some of these decorations on her house. So let me get to showing you them. And its image. Give me a sec. Okay, so here we go. This is a gingerbread house, Victorian style, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I think this one is Victorian or Georgian. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up with my architecture. Sorry. But this right here, this beautiful piece of architecture. So let me actually make it bigger. Okay, so this one is on a hill, and so I saw this and I thought, wow, this is Pari's house. It's surrounded by plants. It reminds me of my grandmother's house. She also had lots of that in the background, and the plants in the front, a lot of them are what we like to call croton, which is a type of colorful leafy plant. It's got big, broad leaves. It's red, yellow, green, orange. It's very colorful. You can see in the right, there's banana leaves in the background. There is soursop trees and so on and so forth. And I was thinking, yep, this is Pari's house. So I'm going to open that in Photoshop now so that I can have it as a reference. And remove it from here. And then I'm gonna just arrange that into 2 vertical. And I kind of wanted it on the other side, so let me try it again. So consolidate them all into tabs, and then, okay, so it didn't work. Switch them again. Okay, so it's not working for me. I'm just gonna have to deal with it on the left side. So I'm gonna create for myself a really nice there, and let's do that. So I only need it about that size, so maybe, yeah, I'll keep it like that. And I just want to make, okay, you guys can't see it when I have it like that, so it's gonna have to be the vertical arrangement. Yep, so you guys can see it when it's like this. It will be just like that. Alright, so I drew a couple storyboards. I told you guys I was going to show you Pari, the storyboard sketches or the image board sketches that I drew. And I was really trying to get a feeling for these new character designs that I did. So this is actually Pari, and for those of you who've seen her before, Pac says he wants to bite the house. They really do they look like gingerbread houses. They're really pretty. And you see a lot of them in the countryside, especially in the rural areas. But yeah, this is Pari, like I said. And she's actually sticking her tongue out at Enya. The wall that you can see, hold on, let's see. The wall that you can see is traditional Jamaican wall. We have a lot of stone walls. Usually there are steps. They either have circles in the middle. And what people like to do in these negative spaces, they'll put decorative grills. So they'll be really, really beautiful things, ornate. They'll be shaped like plants. And we have a lot of columns in our architecture. So we've got Victorian architecture, Georgian architecture. But even on residential houses, you'll see like Corinthian columns or Doric columns or Ionic columns. And we tend to have taken a lot of the architecture from the Spanish and the British and put them together. In Spanish Town, we actually have authentic Spanish architecture from the colonial era. And so you can see a lot of that influence in the architecture of Jamaica, where this animated piece is going to take place. Let me go like that. And so, but I wanted to go back to a simpler sort of animation, or no, not simpler sort of animation, but a simpler kind of life. I want to portray a lot of Jamaica's culture that's typically not talked about in pop. It's not a part of brand Jamaica, or in the sense that it's a little bit more local. It's things you'd only know if you were someone born in the country. So let me turn this off, turn on the next one. So this is Pari, and the object she's lying on is a billboard. Billboards in Jamaica tend not to be, I mean, you have some on top of buildings, but the vast majority of them tend to be on the ground. Usually on grassy patches on the side of the road. And so you can actually climb up them. You're not supposed to. You can. Don't ask me how I know that. And this is the one that I really want to get into, because the character we're designing today after we tackle this house is this one. And this character is called Pitchy Patchy. And Pitchy Patchy, all you can really see of it right now is the face. And I designed that mask. Pitchy Patchy tends to have different types of masks. Mask. There we go. And so it's usually a man dressed up in a costume that consists of several pieces of cloth. He has a whip. And Jonkun is a Christmas festival that we tend to have. It has several spellings. Mostly because we never got around to deciding which spelling was correct, and nobody really cares that much. So he goes around in this tattered cloth costume. It's usually brightly colored, reds, yellows, blue. Sometimes he's on stilts, and children tend to get really, really scared of it. And so this is actually Pari protecting Enya from Pichi Pachi. There's a lot more to this image that I really haven't unpackaged because I'm not quite sure what the story is going to be. But I'll figure it out, or we'll figure it out. So I want to design Pichi Pachi today, and so I thought let's make Pari's house match this. There's a whole different sort of Jamaica than the tourist one that's full of lots of culture and stories and folklore that just doesn't transition into popular media. And so I want to sort of bring that to this animation. Things that Jamaicans would recognize, but that people outside of Jamaica would probably enjoy learning about. So let's do 3. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to do something like a sketch. I want Pari's house to be on a hillside like this and with plants in front of it, but this house is like here. So I'm going to show you guys how your perspective grid actually allows you to measure. Let me see what layer I'm on. Yeah, there we go. And accidentally put this on a clipping mask with the layer before so it wasn't showing up. So how you kind of unpackage it, you can use blobs. You can use blobs. So what you do is now you can draw lines straight up, and these lines will preserve the they will be equidistant from each other in perspective. So if I go here, I zoom in, and what I mean by, or equal distance from each other. So this perspective, so from here to here. So if I draw a box here and I go all the way across, let's go 2 across. There we go. So I didn't reset my shift. I'll just clean it up. But this box is now perfectly in perspective. And so if I wanted to draw this cliff, I can actually do a geometric sketch of this whole drawing and have it perfectly measured out using blocks in perspective. And after that, I can now add plants. I can plan out exactly where I want the plants. For example, if this is the top of the cliff, then I know that if I want the plant to appear as if, if I want the plant to appear as if it's sort of halfway down, I'll actually do it. Let me show you where it goes. So I draw that, and the reason I drew another one across is because that's going to put it midway. So the plant is here, put it midway, call that up that side of the house, and then I come here, and that's the slope. And I have this slope now perfectly in perspective. And so I can put the plant, I know the plant is here, and now I can take accurate measurements of where I want this plant. So I know how tall I want it to be. If I want it to be, it's supposed to hit the bottom of the house, which means that the plant if I draw this out in perspective, I can now pull a perspective line right through there, and I know that this plant can't go higher than this if I want it to appear in perspective where it is in this drawing. So this is how it helps me to lay out everything in the drawing and to plan what I'm going to do. And so I'm just gonna merge this down into the layer. And I'm gonna draw everything in blobs. There are things I'm going to take from this drawing, such as the layout of the house. And I know this plant is like 1 square, so I know I don't go any further than a square. This is like half a square. And now I can kind of like eyeball this. I know this curve is too steep. I've actually overdrawn the plant because this is where it's from. Go up here. And now I can keep track of the sizes of everything, how it relates to everything else around it. And I can, so on and so forth, do that. So now that I've drawn that perspective grid, let's move on directly to design. I'm actually gonna design the house separate from the layout because trying to design in perspective is a whole pain in the butt. So I'm gonna take the features I like about this house and exaggerate them. So I really, really love this double triangular awning and the porch that goes all the way around. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna elongate that triangle. And these are wooden houses. I'm still on the website that this is on. So, and she has several pictures of these houses. It doesn't appear to be a zinc roof house, or it might be, let me check. Okay, so I lied. It is a zinc roof house. Zinc is a type of thin sheet metal. So it appears to be a painted zinc roof house. So I'm actually gonna curve and warp that. And I'm using so I'm gonna make it a lot more organic than it probably has any right being. Just to give the animation like a sort of style. I'm gonna exaggerate the shape of the building. I'm gonna play with the zinc tends to have serrated edges, or it tends to have like that sort of edge. And this is just a quick sketch, so. And I'm literally just drawing a box so I can keep track of the perspective of this house. This is another perspective shortcut that you can use. If you're drawing something that doesn't have to fit in relation to what it is that you're drawing around it. So we're doing that. And this one has that sort of spire, almost like a church. So I'm going to exaggerate that. Replace it with a cone. Looking at this house is making me hungry. Pack, I blame you for that. I really do. gonna give this some thickness. It's not gonna be as thick as that line from earlier. So I'm just doing that quick sketch. Now, you can't see it from here, but I can tell for two reasons. One, this structure right here, if this porch goes all the way around, the only reason we can't see this is because of the angle at which we're looking at the house, but it's there. So that goes all the way around. That lines up out there. And so this wooden awning will go all the way around. And I'm just playing with the structure of the house to see what I really like about it. This part right here is a square. I can tell that this goes back, so it's sort of shaped perhaps like a cross. There's a lot of houses in Jamaica that build themselves to be shaped like churches, so I wouldn't put that past a gingerbread house, particularly if it is from the colonial era. So that. I haven't really thought of the floor plan of this house, but it does make for a really pretty looking house. And this porch might just go all the way around just the front, come to think of it. So let's go that way. Doing that quick sketch. That's the floor. Bring that up. And I'm not really sure what they call these sort of railings, but they're wooden, they go this way. And we still have them on a lot of the modern buildings now, particularly in Spanish Town and downtown Kingston. You'll see these sort of crisscrossed railings. I honestly think sometimes the wire fencing was created to mimic this, but I could be wrong. So now I'm gonna draw the columns. And there is that. We're gonna bring that wall down to here so that we have a good understanding of that. And right now I'm not worried about proportion. I'm really only keeping track of perspective because I'm doing such a quick sketch, but I will draw this properly afterwards. What do you guys think should be in Pari's house? I mean, there's some things I know will be there because I'm Jamaican, and there's some things that just exist inside a Jamaican household. But what do you guys think should be in Pari's house? And since it's going to be on a hill, it's going to be one of the houses with stilts. Oh, yeah, we have stilt houses down here. Meaning houses that are actually built on top of these little wooden things. I really love them. Sometimes I like to look under them just to see what's there. Most times it's just the dog sleeping. But sometimes you'll find like little treasures like mongoose, or you'll be unlucky and you'll find a mongoose. Either way, it's interesting. So you can have grass and stuff under there. So let's do some grass. These squiggles are my grass for now. And since the house is on stilts, that goes there. I'm drawing out perspective lines. So that actually comes here. And so when you have that railings and stuff and the like, then you will have stuff like staircases. I can't see the rest of the house. I'm literally making this up right now. And what I really love about the communities that you usually see these houses in, apart from the fact that everybody stares at you, it's usually because everybody knows each other and they're looking out for each other. And so they're looking to see who it is, if they're going to have to report you. Doesn't sound that charming, but it actually is. Usually you'll see children playing on the street, dogs, and so on and so forth. Grandma. You think I should put grandma inside the house? Should Pari have her grandma there? Okay. Let's do. Alright. Let's do this sort of skirting. Is it skirting? I don't know. Do that. There's actually, this railing actually comes in just a bit. Looking out for those wire thieves. I don't even know. If the neighborhood grandmas haven't caught the wire thieves yet, I'm not sure how much chance anybody else has, because they know everything. Alright. Grandma looking for those wire thieves. Hold on. I think I can do that. That should be really easy to do. So here we got grandma looking out for them wire thieves. I'm actually gonna put Pari on the roof. If you ask me why, because we used to climb. This one doesn't have grills, which is something that you would really only see in a more rural community. In more urban areas of Jamaica, you usually see grills or at least security systems and stuff like that. So I'm gonna put that there. So I exaggerated these. I think I also want to exaggerate the house. I want to give it like a character of its own. So maybe, because my grandmother, she has a garden. I don't know who's taking care of it. Maybe I should go take care of it. But I'm gonna sort of exaggerate these floorboards. They're like gonna come all the way up. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm gonna put plants here. And so this is going to be foliage. And I want to recreate the feeling of my grandmother's house, which is plants everywhere. So there's ivy and roses. My grandmother loves roses. And I love that she loves roses because it means that I get to see them without having to take care of them. So, erasing some of this stuff. And then, just like a gingerbread house, I'm actually gonna put a window in this one. Because if Pari is on the roof, I don't want her to be doing it the way we used to do it. She needs to come through a window or something, because guys, this was before child safety acts were as strict as they were in our country. Yeah, so that's the house. And let's do that. And those windows here. If I remember correctly about Georgian architecture, you should be able to actually symmetrically split the building down the middle. So this might actually be more Georgian, simply because I think if I cut this down the middle, I would get 2 equal halves. So this might be Jamaican Georgian architecture. And I really love Jamaican folklore, guys. It's hilarious. So we do that. And I think this is good. I think this is good for the house for now. I can't really think of anything else. Maybe I could modernize it just a little bit. If I wanted to put an AC unit, probably here. This is probably grandma's room or mom's room. So that's the AC unit. What used to be on my grandmother's porch? Tables. Oh my god, we had this one. It was a work desk, like a desk that you would see in an office, and it was always in the corner. So I'm gonna put one here. That's because she used to be a teacher, and that's where she'd work. When she got home, there would be toys. The door to the inside of the house is really important. So I'm gonna put that door shape over there. And let's see, I'm going to exaggerate that door shape. There was this one door that I swore it was changing shape every time because it could never close. Only my grandmother could close it, and I swear like maybe she could talk to the door or something. I also want to draw red polished floors, which are, how do I, okay, so red polished floors are, they're not tiled. Or red clay floors. It was kind of like a red, yeah, it was kind of like a red mixture that they set onto the floor, and you would cast the stain on it and give it different patterns. And how you would clean it, or rather when I was a child hanging out at my grandmother's house at Christmas, how you would clean this thing is that your grandmother would give you half a coconut, and they made the coconut into a brush. So not that green coconut that you drink water out of. It's like a smaller, harder coconut, like the one that you would see in cartoons that they used to like throw at Wile E. Coyote or something like that. They would cut that coconut in half. It was really, really trashy, and they would like make a brush out of it, and you would use that and red polish to polish the floor, which was usually only the job of whatever grandchildren or children were around. I remember that chore. And there's actually a joke in Jamaica that your knees will turn dark because of all of the red polish. And so I always thought it was really, really. It's not something I enjoyed while I was young. I can enjoy it now because it's helping my artwork. But back then, I hated that stuff. So the front porch, there was no such thing as a closed grill. People could just walk into your house or your yard and just come say hello. Can't count how many times that would happen. Just walk up and knock on your door, or knock on your fence, and be like, "I'm here. What's for dinner or what's for lunch?" And I just really loved. I really loved that, and looking back, I still really love it. So this is the house. That's my first drawing of the house. I'm gonna put it up here and hit enter. And I'm actually gonna, just make those lines a little bit darker because they're looking kind of pale. So I can keep track of that. And now I'm gonna go back to this. So now that I sort of have an understanding of what this house is gonna look like, using that one as the reference, I can sort of like blob out where I want this to be. And I will go back and change up this design, probably design a floor plan for it. This house might have 3 to 4, let's say this is the living room. The living room and the dining room would not be in the same area based on how I know Jamaican houses are shaped. But I might see if I can get inside one of these old gingerbread houses. I might contact the Georgian Society of Jamaica and see if they will tell me if there are any houses around that I can go into and take pictures of. But for now, let's just sort of rough this out. So you're gonna come all the way up here, and first I'm gonna do like a geometric thing of this. So let's click here. So I learned from Paintable's 1 week portrait that it is actually easier for me when I am, how do I put it? When I do a geometric sketch first, just to get the proportions of where everything should be. So I'm just gonna rough in the negative space around this house. Sort of like that. So I'm using this as a reference for composition and stuff. So the house is actually sort of here. And the rest of this is all foliage. So you might be wondering, where on earth do you drive a car up to this house? I'm gonna tell you from now, if your car is not an SUV or stronger, you ain't going to the Jamaican countryside. What's going to happen is you're gonna reach about halfway there, and then you're gonna have to call AAA or JAA. I've been in America too long. Down here it's called JAA. And and they're gonna have to come rescue you from the mud. And the driveways are sort of like that. They're a whole slope. Like, they test your driving skills. Jamaican countryside isn't for the faint-hearted. They will test your driving skills. If you think you're going to be the best, yeah, if you think if you're the best driver, try driving on a Jamaican road. If you can survive that, I will concede your point. Okay, so that's our geometric sketch, just to get that positive space there. I actually want to grab that and move it just a bit up, because I feel like the geometric sketch is wrong. I think that is more that way. Yeah, that was right. And that actually goes that way. So that's about where I want to put the house. And then we're going to kind of work on exaggerating everything in here. I'm actually going to turn this door sketch into a sign, and it's going to say honey and plants for sale. You can do that down here. If you make a product at your own house, you can just put up a sign on your property. I'm selling this. And people in your community will buy from you. So now that I have that sketch, that means that I want to move this sketch straight up, but I don't want to change the perspective of it. So I see what my problem is. I was drawing this based on the bigger shape when I should have been drawing it based on the smaller white shape. So I do that here, enter. And then using this, I'm just gonna draw a line straight down from each corner. I'm just gonna shift it into a better position on my grid. Yeah, that works for me. And so now this house is sort of here. So the rest of this shrubbery. Now I'm gonna do another sketch of this house. And I'm going to be designing as I go along. Again, like Pari and Ennio, I'll change it up. But for the most part, them's the breaks. So, like that. So, I'm gonna draw geometric. And remember those diagonal vanishing points? They come in handy. We gonna do this. So I already have the vanishing point for here, the line for here. So now all I need to really do is draw the one from here to here. So any square or feature that's going along there is gonna have to follow that line. And now it's really easy to make sure now that I have all of this in perspective. Okay, so there, I know from here to here. The house is sort of on this plateau right here. And what I'm doing is kind of just like re-evaluating where everything is. That's the center of the house. This line should match up with that vanishing point line. So it doesn't. I'm gonna match. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Hold on a sec, guys. Ooh. Almost had the alarm go off. Wow. Alright. So um back to the live stream. And so we're here. That's where our house is. This is above the line, so we can't really see the top side of it. We can obviously see the bottom side of it. And let's now begin to draw out the slope for the plants. Hold on. Guys, I'm going to have to mute my sound for a while. All right. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna draw this slope out, and this is why I use a mouse and a drawing tablet. So that's that. Click. I can draw the slope all the way out. To here. And so this is from here. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm now going to draw a midline. And the midline is basically, I'm taking measurements of the whole landscape right now. So it goes straight across that midline right there. And so I'm going to take measurements on the bottom layer, and I'm going to do the rough sketch on the top layer. Now I want to sketch in, let me move this closer down. Let's sketch in this color. So now that I'm here, we're gonna do straight up. Because these lines are straight, we're not doing 3-point perspective. That's straight. And that's right there. I'm gonna take into consideration foreshortening. That goes there. And I said I was going to exaggerate these, so let's start the exaggeration. Okay. Let's go all the way up. All right, and moving back to the bottom layer, what I want to do is I want to draw this triangular shape. I knew there was something off. Those top lines, because I moved it, they're no longer accurate. So there we go. Okie dokie. Switch back to that rough layer. And let's go. So let's actually bring that opacity down. The other one's 20. Let's make this one 34. Guys, I'm bad for OCD people. I really am. I'm just telling you from now. Okay. You do the sketchiest of lines. And I'm just distorting this perspective line for the boards that I stylized in the earlier sketch. So some of them will stick up, some of them won't. I might put a pigeon or a patu or something. Patu is just patois for what the heck? What the heck? I'm sorry, Pac. What are you reacting to? Which one of the things I said before were you reacting to? Yeah, I was saying that patu is really just Jamaican patois for owl. Oh right, I made one of these longer just to break up that. So I'm gonna keep both sketches. I'm actually liking that other sketch better. I think it's because I wanna have it like that. And now I can erase it just a bit. I just needed to get the angle of it. And that's actually going to be just a little bit. Okay. I need it to be on that perspective line, so it's gonna go back that way. Which means that perspective line is also gonna go back that way. So that will make more sense. From here, I'm gonna put wind chimes. We like wind chimes a lot. We do. At least in the country. I don't know about anywhere else. I am also going to put a pile of rice by the door. Oh, the alarm? Yeah. So yeah, if you open the door while it's in like stay mode, whew, it gets loud. So yeah, so like that. This is there. And I think what I want to do is go back down to the other layer. And you know, I think I'm gonna get rid of some of these because I'm not using them at all. So I'm just gonna put history, actions, swatches. I'm not using properties. You I'm using. You. There we go. That's a better workspace. I'll save it in a bit. So just so I can have access to layers and know what's going on. So the house had a better shape before with this one. I think I'm too loose in the sketch. So let's just, the reason why I did it on the other layer, let's get rid of that. Go back down to 3 and try again. With thinner lines, smoother strokes, and a better house for grandma. Let's leave that straight. And now that I have that line, I know which way you all are going. And let's turn that off for a second so you can sort of see what's going on here. Turn it back on. There we go. Trust me. Let's see. Alright, so I spoke to my little sister, my little sisters today. That was fun. I don't know if the other one, I don't know if she's going to join because she, according to her, she's cleaning. But we'll see. So I do that. And alrighty then. So let's do this. And I gave that a circle. I think maybe if I stretch that just a little bit more, would be good. Right there. Yep. Bring that one up to there. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that on top of the house, like a little banister. And do that quick sketch of the house again. So that kind of sloping, kind of fairy tale roof. Gonna take full advantage of that gingerbread name to add just little details to it. Sounds like my neighbor is bowling at their house. Yeah. Alright, moving there. It sounds like your neighbor is bowling at their house, Pac. Like, okay, I'm gonna do like that. And then almost everything else, we're gonna draw a straight line across. This one is the responsibility of this thing, so I'm gonna draw that all the way out till it hits that line. There we go. Now you can see just how much that awning comes off the house itself. Looks like the kind of house spirits would haunt. Yeah, they're making some weird loud noises. I'll behave. I don't know what to tell you, Pac. I'm trying to behave myself. It's not in my nature. Like, is it weird like construction weird or weird like people talking weird? Okay, so this, I realized that this end of the house, yeah. So now I'm gonna draw across like that. That's like a wooden. Weird like bowling? Like a rumbling sort of song. I'm really trying to understand because it sounds like I don't know, like bowling noises? How? I'm just confused, guys. I'm just confused. I don't know what's going on over by PAX, and I'm worried. Da, 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 da. Like, are you on speaking terms? Can you ask them in the morning what was going on? I'm actually really curious now, like, what's going on? All right, let's see. Cross. Hmm. So confused right now. Okay, let's do that. It stopped. Okay, Detective Pack is on his way, so we will hopefully know what's going on. But seriously though, what on earth could you be doing that would be making that much noise at 9 o'clock at night? Have you been sleeping properly? I feel like somebody's mom. Like when I asked that question, my whole body went, wow, somebody's mom right there. Um, but seriously though, have you been getting sleep or is it just like a strange thing that only happens today? All right, so just explaining again how to use this perspective grid. Whenever you want to measure distances and keep them basically pretty much the same, you can draw straight lines up from the grid. Right now, I have this 2 squares away from the main object, and so I drew a line out from, followed the line out from the central vanishing point, drew the line up, And then I drew a square here because that corner is going to appear um, pretty weird if I just put this here, especially because it's going to be fighting that line right there. So if I put a square right here, it will look like the porch is turning. And then I draw this over here. The house is receding in both directions. And so the porch ends up out here. Now, I did say I was going to extend the porch out to there. And in order to do that, I'm going to leave this one because that's just going to come out more like that. That is actually going on that rough layer. Based on where this is, in order to get that shape, all of you guys are actually going to go back towards that vanishing point because it's going to be on the other side of this central line right here. And so I'm going to draw that diagonal line. And then I'm going to shift, click back. And so now I know what that's going to look like. Go back to my top layer. And now I can edit this as I please. I can make it as curvy as I want. And I can sort of play with it. And it will all go back in perspective. It will look like it all belongs to the same world. So you can sort of cheat things a bit if you have the overall understanding. But when you're beginning, take it slow, be patient with yourself, and sort of take time to do measurements. Remember, if you're doing this traditionally, you can do all of this on a paper underneath with a light box. So you can do all of this. Aww. Thank you, Rave. Guys, Rave is such a sweetheart. Thank you. I didn't say it today, but thank you so much. If you guys are wondering what I'm saying, thank you about. Rave has posted a message I put out earlier. There is a lovely sweetheart of a cat angel who is in need of a home. Her owner, who is my little sister, cannot keep her or else she'll be evicted. And so she is attempting to find a home, a temporary home for Angel, her sweet, lovable little cat, so that she can then take her when she moves next year, August. I sleep lying down. Is that proper? I'm not quite sure. And so if you know anybody in that Orlando, Florida area who can temporarily take care of a cat that is house trained, not aggressive at all, and no, when I say house trained, I mean uses her litter box, and she's willing to provide funding and everything. I'm sorry, I'm really touched right now. Thank you so much, Rafe. Thank you so much. And yeah, so if she's willing to pay for food for the cat and to help the person who would be fostering take care of the cat, she just needs a home that she can trust. so that she does not have to give up her pet, because I believe she only lives near kill shelters, and we kind of don't want the cat to suffer because of the situation that she is in. So if you know anybody, please contact me here, contact me on Discord, contact me on Instagram, contact me anywhere. Thank you. I was actually trying not to think about it too much just now, but Riv over here cutting onions. That's what she doing. Okay, so I have extended this porch, and I'm going to do like that's 1/3. The railing is usually 1/3 of the. Sorry. Yeah, the railing is usually 1/3 of the house. And yeah. Thank you. I'm trying my best. We have until Friday, so I think I must have contacted everybody. I also just recently learned how to cut onions properly. Oh wow. You see, it's a skill. It transferred. It transfers to everyday life. God. Oh my god. So, I'm just erasing this. But, okay, so while I contain myself, um, I'm actually gonna go on this layer and draw this down, because I drew these out kind of without thinking. So I kind of just want to see where they are in reality in comparison to the house. So, wow, they're pretty huge. This is a full 4 feet away from. I think they're all 4 feet away. Well, it just gonna have to work for now. Okay, so I brought that down, Okay, so it's 4 feet away, but it's only 1 square away from the. Yeah, this is 2 squares, so it's not that far. It's still pretty good. Thank you. I am trying to study my foundations because I realize I'm severely lacking in them. So I'm trying to make sure that I get them down pat. So 1, 2. So I'm considering bringing these around to here, but I think I might forego that because I'm not really getting an accurate measurement on what I want. I could bring it back to here, but I feel like that's actually no, that's exactly what I'll do right there. That's really, really far though. Let's go to here. Alright, so I realized this needs to actually show the curve because that's on the horizon line. And then I'll go back to here, switch the color, and I'll give myself a guide for that, which is alright, so that triangular thing right there. So that goes that way, that goes that way. And I'm using that triangular plane to keep track of perfect squares. Let's see these onions. I can't provide proof of onion cutting. I don't know. Rave, can you provide proof of onion cutting? Pack wants to see. I can't. Okay, so this is actually where this really shines. Because now I can go down to this layer and I can measure out how thick each of these boards is going to be in perspective in order for them to still look right. So I'm going to do that, that, and that. And now if I want to add more floorboards, it's really easy. I can just do that quick sketch, half and half. I can split each of these into halves. I think I might leave this one. Split this one into a half. Guys, I messed up. The perspective was off. So there, there, there. There we go. And these are all of our floorboards. Now from here, I can just, this is here. So the lines transfer, so measurements transfer. So if I have this flat, if I want to find 1/3 on this line and that line, all I need to do, switch the color, is from the diagonal point, click, draw that line, just as if you were drawing it with a ruler. Where it crosses this line, this is 1/3 of that line in perspective. And so I can do the same thing here. That is 1/3 of that line in perspective. And so my highest point is actually right here. Rave is dicing onions. She can get them into squares. I can't do that. I can get them into slightly well-shaped rectangles. Let's go here. So I'm impressed. I think I'll draw all of them at the same shape, and then I will add to them different individual what do you call them, damage or stuff like that, because I don't really like the kind of ununiformness of it. By the way, what were you cooking that needed perfect square onions? Or were you just learning? Learning for the sake of learning. Okay, let's get that back. Alright, so we're up. We've got that awning, and we're gonna bring this whole shape up to here. Alright. Now I realized something. I made a mistake. I made a mistake with the lines here, here, and here. So your perspective grid will help you check yourself. So now I'm gonna go fix my mistake and give myself some guidelines. So we take that all the way down to 6. And yep. Thank you. So there. Okay, and that is my line. I know why it looks weird now. Because the perspective on this is all off. Ooh, I made so much mistakes. I made mistake on mistake, guys. Mistakes on mistakes at the beginning. I'll just be using onion powder. No. But it's so convenient though. No, down on onion powder, it's super convenient. It and garlic powder are sometimes my life. My perspective is off. So drawing that line all the way up, making sure it lines up with that. The good thing is I don't have to fix the straight lines. But from here to there, definitely have to fix those lines. Okay, and so here, there we go. From there to here. Okie dokie. So that's much better. And now I can, using this, now this is my favorite thing to do because now I know how to actually do this in perspective. So I'm going to do that. Line that up there. go straight across, then go straight down, and no, not go straight across. That's wrong. That's wrong. What I'm doing at this juncture is from here to here. Nope. I know. I'm drawing it back to the wrong perspective. That's what's happening here. I'm supposed to draw it back to this line. So what I'm gonna do is actually come here and erase this, the incorrect guideline. Since I actually have a height reference right here. And what I'm going to do is take that down to x3, click, and it needs to be in line with this. Click, draw that down, and click. Okay. And now I can, let's flip this, do that. I want to find the midway point. So I'm gonna draw these two lines across. That is the midpoint in perspective. So I'm going to do that again. And I actually don't need to draw that midpoint. I can actually go here, and from the middle point here, draw it back to the perspective line. And now, where these two lines cross each other, that's the midpoint. So now that I've done that, we will, because I brought that up, go on to this layer now and just fill those lines in. Oh, they'll be curved, so we'll have it there. And now from here, I can go back to that layer. And from that very tip right there, on both of them. But first, let's erase the lines. Yay. So now we do that and draw both of them back to here. That's a good perspective. So switching back my colors. And that's where that is. So let's turn this off. Okay. And we're here. Okie dokie then. So we do that. And I'm gonna use mouse to do there. And since we're doing that picket fence, I'm gonna do something like that. And I just eyeballed that. Don't follow my bad example. So let's go. This one was the one I brought downwards. There. And then that one's actually blocked out by that one, so. And if I go there, so there's a lot of measuring, going back, checking sure to make sure you are in fact following the rules of perspective, unlike I was at the beginning of this. And yeah. Like, guys, I'm just gonna say something that I just saw. If any of you all play D&D like my friends and I, whenever you find yourself making like huge orders of dice, don't. There's just no saving that. Just don't. Like, don't do it to yourself. Just don't. Okay. Alright. So we're here. I roughed that one out. Should probably actually go out of my way to draw a circle. Okay. I will leave the gingerbread house scalping for later. Chances are when I put this in the animation, I might actually 3D model it instead of draw it. Simply because of the copious amount of details I'm gonna put into it. But we will see. And so we have that. This is more like half, so I think I'm gonna bring this up just a little bit more. And then there. There we go. And that will be our railing. There we go. And I'm not gonna do that checkered pattern just yet. I'm gonna flesh out the rest of this. And then we'll see what's going on. So that's the post. That's the post. That's another post. And like I said, with Georgian architecture, not orchestra, with Georgian architecture, you should be able to split the house down the middle and get a perfectly symmetrical design of the house. So that's that. So this is the inside of the house right here. So I'm going to use this existing line down here as the baseline for the windows. I'm going to draw that all the way up. And so it's sort of midway between the two spaces, so I'm going to do just that. Okay, and so that is where the windows will be. And they go up under this awning, which I'm not finished drawing. But let's take all of this off for now. And this is what Pari's house is looking like. So what I might want to do is erase that, erase that, It sort of looks like it's floating on top of something, but in the rough layer, I think if I put plants and stuff out here, whoops, that's erasing. Then it should be really easy to sort of fill in this picture. I've got about half an hour left. So I think I'm just gonna continue fleshing this out. I'll probably words. That's what we're looking for. I will probably finish this sketch up. Perhaps block in some colors into it and post it in the Discord and on the Facebook page. Instagram is still under reconstruction. I'm trying to build up a buffer of posts for Instagram, as what I found happened last time was that I did not have the time to create new pieces every day to post. And so that was getting in the way of me keeping a consistent Instagram page. Facebook is a little bit less than that, and so I have been keeping the Facebook page up to date, and I'll see how I can keep those two giving good information. Maybe I don't post everything at the same time. Maybe I have a posting schedule, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it will become a more manageable ordeal than what I was dealing with before. So now that we're doing that, I'm going to just okay, so and what I'm drawing right now are the stilts on which the house rests. That's too thick, not for this perspective. Yeah, so what I drawing the stilts on which the house rests. There we go. Take that layer off just to get a good example. I'm missing one. It's actually the one that goes behind this. So you can stop this here. And missing two should be around here. And so these stilts are somewhere between, oh, right, 1 to 1.5 squares from each other. So I can actually measure that out on the grid. And I can travel along this line and see. So I actually put it way, let's see. I can do this. Let's just draw a line specifically for that. So I actually made it a bit too long in order for it to line up with that one. So do that. Then let's do it again so that it lines up with this one. Aha, there we go. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, so now I know this one needs to be elongated, that one needs to be shortened. Whoops. Okay, and so that looks a lot better. I said 1 to 1.5 squares, that puts it around here. There we go. Now there's another set of stilts that's going to go down the center of the house, and that's going to be taking the main weight of the house. Each of those stilts is going to determine the shape of the room and where you put the walls in the house. But since I haven't decided that yet, I won't be drawing them into this piece. Okay, so what do I want to work on next? I've got 15 minutes. And I've got the rough drawing of it on this. Okay, well let's draw our spires. Since they're above the horizon line. Since they're the same height, if I want them in perspective. Where are you going? Oh, that's what happened. My tablet just froze. One moment, please. We are having technical difficulties. There we go. Scribble, scribble, scribble. There we go. Ah, da-da. Right. No. I've done the spires, done this, done that. What else do I want to do? Well, first I should probably add that circle that I drew back in. Let's erase that. And I'm not even going to play this game to pretend that I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna see if I can get it with a marquee tool. There we go. And select modify, contract. I'm going to contract it by about, I think 3 pixels will be enough for this. And then I'm just gonna delete. Because I really don't want to be fighting with that. This circle does ruin the symmetry of the Georgian architecture, but we will see if I put a circle on the other side or if we just leave it. This actually gets closer, if I remember correctly. There we go. So if I want the rest of these houses that way, okay, so this is kind of like assuming each individual place is flat. But if I put rocks here, I can probably erase this and get a less systematic looking house. I'm getting hungry for onions now. Pack! Make an omelet or something. And season it with season it with onions and garlic and stuff like that. Okay, let's see. Alright. I don't know what I want to work on next. Looking at the quick sketch that I did, I brought that out, brought that up. The only thing I can really think of to work on is probably getting the rough sketch for the rest of the house, because that exists. So let's just measure that out. This house is about 2, and that half of the house is about the same size, so 2, and let's call it 3. And that rough layer. So let's do that. Go here. Bring that up to about 6. To here and here. There we go. So this is the plane on which the rest of the house is on. That's that. Now, the rest of the house actually goes here, so I'm assuming this hill goes out here. So I'm thinking about this. Plans, house. So what I might want to do is, because this section of the house actually, I imagine the house being sort of shaped like this, and as opposed to that. But if it's shaped like this, you've got room for 2 rooms here, and maybe a kitchen and dining room here, and then you'll have like a bathroom. These old houses tend to only have 1 bathroom, or they tend to have an outhouse. Not many people use. Oh, sorry. When? Yeah, so these houses tend to have I'm holding the mic closer to my mouth now. Yeah, so they tend to have 1 bathroom, or they tend to, if I do that, if I imagine that to be like bedroom 1 and bedroom 2, and then we've got, if we're entering here, this is the kitchen, which would make family area dining space here, and the rest of over here is garden or bushland. We have plenty of bush to spare over here. So let's see which one of these would make a better layout. And I'll deal with the square. I'm already struggling, so let's just deal with this one. So yeah, you're actually here, and then in order to get the slant for this, what we're gonna do is just grab this and bring it back to this vanishing point. Now I know these are the same height as this because it follows that perspective line, so I don't really need to worry about them seeming like they're in the same place. I actually need to bring this out just a little bit more because that needs to come here. Alright. Now that we're done with that, we can draw these lines. If there's one thing I miss about having actual winter, it's the lack of bugs. Just overall, the lack of bugs. Okay, got that. this comes down to here. And then, using an eraser, we create a break. This is wrong. Might not put that back. So as I go on, I'm just double checking to make sure that I am getting perspective right, because I'm still basically new to this, so I'm not even going to pretend that, you know. But as I learn and as I correct it, I will let you guys know. And since this is on stilts, let me grab. Since this is on stilts, I can actually just do this one right here. Right now. And just pull it down. And then what I'm going to do with this is bring the perspective of it back to this side. And that looks much better. So I'm gonna leave the railing here, extend that out, add plants to it, plants around it. And I'm actually just drawing the lines of the two columns behind. Actually, that front column can be erased because that's not the position of the... It's not its position anymore. That's where you stop. Rude. So that way, that goes back towards there. And there we go. Now we will need stairs. And the stairs should be, that's the house, let's go 1, 2, call it 2. So let's go into that layer. And we're just gonna do that. And so now know that that's where the staircase is going to be. It looks a bit steep, looks a bit high. It's not as charming as that short staircase at the front, but I think I can manipulate the terrain so that it ends up there, which would actually shorten that. Because the whole point of these stilt houses was that you were building them in places that did not have level ground, or you wanted to level up the house, or you could pick them up and move with them. But that's kind of where I'm going to stop the stream for tonight. I'm going to keep working, but some of you all need to go to sleep. Some of you are sleepy. Patrick, I'm calling you out. Go to sleep. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Yeah. Oh dear. Alright, so that's it for me tonight, and yes, go to sleep. Thanks for all the support. And this is me, Mona, signing off. Bye!